You're gonna have good loot here. Oh, I got some epics from this.
Oh, Rick is taking. Oh my God! He didn't even leave the bottle of booze.
What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick Gakis, and today we're going to be showcasing a new upcoming game, Exoborne. Oh, brother, another sponsored video from this guy. What's he going to do? Sell us the $300 Schmungus edition? Now, hold on just a second. Alright, it is sponsored, but I will say, part of the reason I took the sponsorship is because I've been following this game for a while, and I like the dev team. It's a bunch of ex-Division 1 developers, and I loved the Division 1, and they're super reasonable. I'm gonna peel back the curtain a bit. Here's all they want me to tell you guys. You can wishlist Exoborne on Steam now, and oh, they want you to sign up through Steam for free for an upcoming playtest of the game on September 16th, where you can try the game and play for free and give your feedback. That's it. Like, that's so reasonable, dude. No Schmungus edition, no subscription service, no pre-orders. Just, they want you to try and play the game for free in the playtest. Again, honestly, I love that. That's a breath of fresh air these days. But I also got the chance to play the game with two other Destiny content creators. First of all, we have Mactix.
Because you're a very strong guy. You're very strong. You have a lot of strength.
And then, of course, we have Frostbolt.
And then, no.
You're taking damage walking in the fire.
Oh shit.
And last but not least, there's ya boy.
Rick! Oh, you win these. Just calling airstrike on
you
yourself.
cactus.
That's called. No one expects that, dude. Covering my exit. And of course, I'm super excited because one of them is a god tier PvP player who's helped thousands of people to the lighthouse, and the other one's Mactix. So we hopped into the game, and you might be wondering, what the heck is Exoborne? So this is an open world tactical sci-fi extraction shooter. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh my goodness, did this guy just say a sci-fi extraction shooter? Because we recently had another sci-fi extraction shooter called Marathon, and that did not go so well. So I will admit, Exoborne has a lot of ground to make up for because of the negative perception of sci-fi extraction shooters right now. Except, does it? Because at the same time Marathon was getting absolutely hated on, another sci-fi extraction shooter came out called Arc Raiders, and that got a massively positive reception. So clearly, it's not the genre, but rather it's the execution of the game. There's actually several features in Exoborne that completely fix some of the main complaints about Marathon. Trust me, I played Marathon. So, one of the key features of Exoborne is your exo rig. You're going into battle as a literal super soldier, but you can choose which exo rig you want to equip, and as you can see right here, different exo rigs have different abilities. So the Viper exo rig had a cloaking ability. That's what I initially played as, but then later on, I actually switched to the Kodiak Exo rig, which gave me an enhanced jump, as well as an ability to gain a bunch of armor to swing a gunfight in my favor. So, through these Exo rigs, Exoborne kind of does have different classes, different heroes you can play as. But as you can see right here, it also lets you equip several different important abilities. Stuff that will have, scanning darts and special grenades, etc. So it's kind of splitting the difference, right? Other extraction shooters, it's all loot. There's no classes, no abilities except for what you get in-game. Exoborne does give you the ability to get certain special abilities, airstrikes, and so on in-game, but also still maintains that you can actually pick your exo rig depending on your playstyle, and that's going to let you, switch up your gameplay. It's going to keep things feeling fresh if you're playing on a different exo rig. So again, it's kind of splitting the difference there between those different features. Now, moving into the in-game mechanics, how does this game play? Well, the thing I want to mention right away, and again, this is what really improved things for me over Marathon. The movement in Exoborne is actually kind of crazy. First of all, you get a grapple hook, which is very effective. You can scale like 3-story buildings, no problem. You can jump across gaps, and you can combine jumps into grapple, and then you also have a parachute. So you're spanning across massive gorges, you're climbing up on tall towers and parachuting down to get the drop on enemies, and you can call this parachute in, you can deploy it at any time. But you might be going, dude, is this guy really yapping about a parachute? Like, who cares about a parachute? Guys, turns out for the parachute, you can go up. That's right, you are seeing me going up into the air, gaining altitude with the parachute. What the heck is this about? Well, it's combined with another key feature of Exoborne, and that is the weather and the storm system. Storms will roll into your match mid-game, causing tornadoes, lightning strikes, and updrafts. You can actually use like the wind, the drafts from these storms to deploy your parachute and catapult across the map. It's something that I've really never experienced before in a game like this. In fact, they've built into this feature so much, one of the exosuits, as you can see here, that I think Frostbolt was playing as, could actually use their ability to slam the ground and make an updraft. So you could, even if there's no storm, you don't have to rely on the random chance of the storm. You can use that ability, use the updraft to really gain some momentum and traverse the map fast. However, I will admit here that because you have access to this movement tech and you're able to traverse the map faster, I did find myself getting into fights with other squads, so fighting real players, much more often than Marathon. For me personally, I found Marathon a bit boring. Like, you could easily go a match without seeing any other player. In Exoborne, that really did not happen. Now, was it 3 brain-dead content creators chasing gunshots? Maybe there's a little bit of that. I will say, but like, I'm going to be honest, I played that same way in Marathon. So just because you're able to, get an updraft and traverse the entire map in a parachute, or, a huge chunk of the map in a parachute, get the drop on people, you are going to encounter people, real people, more often. Some people love that, but other people who don't really love the PvP aspect of extraction shooters, the people that prefer much more the PvE side of things, PvE raids and so on, with a little bit of PvP sprinkled on top, you might not like that. I'm just being honest with you guys. Now, speaking of the PvE side of an extraction shooter, what was that experience like? Well, as you can see right here in the background gameplay, we actually did go and do this huge PvE puzzle. There was a zone of the map that was toxified, like there was a poison chemical there, so you could only stay in it for a certain amount of time, and we were trying to figure out this puzzle. We were connecting these different objects, we were repairing these power lines to eventually unlock some sick loot. We got this kind of crazy artifact that spawned in here as well. So that felt kind of cool, because as we're doing that, there's pods of robots dropping in. We're having to fight these guys while under pressure from the smoke, while we're trying to figure out this puzzle, right? So it did feel like a more interesting and interactable PvE objective than a lot of other things I've played, Call of Duty DMZ, and even Marathon, where it's like, all right, there's some guys, kill them, whatever. This you did have to actually think about. Now, on top of that, there were some other things we found, going to these certain areas, collecting enough currency to go and unlock like a secret bunker that Frostbolt found. That was kind of cool, getting some loot in there and then coming out and then successfully extracting. And speaking of extracting, this game does not make extracting easy. Like, you guys can see, the doors are open and you can shoot through and other people can shoot you. Like, extracting is actually pretty intense. You are literally like, shooting out of the extraction chopper. I guess it's like a plane or whatever, but you are shooting enemies on the ground while you're being shot. You're having gunfights in and around these extraction vehicles. So yeah, that's going to create some epic moments, and that's also going to create some unbelievably frustrating moments. I cannot think of anything that would tilt me more than getting on the extraction plane just to be sniped from a guy across the map, on the plane. Like, that would be absolutely brutal, but it is a feature you need to be aware of. Now, what about the loot you're extracting? What is the loot system like? Well, in terms of guns and ammo, it's very similar to other extraction shooters, where you have a certain weapon, like let's say you have a rifle, it uses 5.56 ammo, you have to actually go and get 5.56 ammo to keep it fed. However, there's different kinds of each ammo type, so you can get like 5.56 plus P, and it does more damage to armor. So you do get to some interesting scenarios where you find like a high rarity box of ammo, like a few hundred rounds of like a really good high damaging, extra damaging ammo, and then you're trying to find a gun that goes with that ammo, which is kind of interesting. Now, something else I noticed is that they're pretty liberal on what types of weapons can use a certain ammo. In other extraction shooters, you basically have like sniper rounds that are only used with long-range sniper type weapons. In Exoborne, you can see I'm actually using a 50 caliber heavy machine gun, and then there's a 50 caliber sniper rifle. So just because you find a certain ammo, you're not locked into a certain playstyle. Like if you find 50 cal, you're not like, oh my gosh, I have to use a sniper. No. You can use the heavy machine gun and play completely differently. Now, in terms of attachments, there's a lot of attachments and they're completely transferable. So you can see there's stuff like a bunch of different sights. There's even thermal sights, which were pretty darn effective. There's certain muzzle attachments. There's grips. There's a bunch of different stuff that you can use to customize your weapons and get them acting and feeling how you want them to. Now, in terms of other loot, again, you will find stuff like airstrikes, scanner darts, very useful abilities, and you're also then just going to find the smorgasbord of random items that will give you money that you can use in the after game shop, right? So even if you die and lose everything, you often do have enough money saved up to buy a gun and some ammo and get back into the action with at least something. Now, I will say, for this playtest, we were given some really high tier stuff to test it out, so it's hard for me to comment on the economy, the environment. Like, if you do lose it all, you're back to nothing, how brutal is it going to be to claw your way back up? And of course, when the game initially releases, everyone's going to be clawing their way up from scratch. Again, we didn't play like that, so I can't comment on that. So that's something to kind of keep in mind going into the playtest, guys. So overall, I mean, I'm playing with two friends, everyone's funny, we had a great time. I mean, what do you expect, right? How will this game play solo in the middle of the night grinding? I don't really know, but you can find out. That's the beauty. Again, all you guys gotta do to try out this game for yourself to see if you have a great time with your squad of friends is simply go to Steam, wishlist it, and sign up for the upcoming playtest that takes place starting September 16th. Try the game for yourself. Why not, right? Guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Exoborn content, let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.